Imagine witnessing America's retail collapse, as retail stores vanish across the top 10 states hit the hardest. From Party City to Macy's, every store close reveals the scale of the top 10 states' retail collapse and nationwide decline. In 2025, over 15,000 stores have closed their doors across America, wiping out more than $4.2 billion in local economies. Banks and grocery chains are gone. What was once the heartbeat of Main Street is now a cold echo of for-lease signs and unpaid bills. Families are losing jobs. Small towns are losing identity. And even megastates like California and New York are collapsing under retail bankruptcy. This isn't a recession anymore. It's a retail extinction unfolding in real time. Number 10. Michigan. From the Motor City to retail meltdown. Michigan has officially joined the top 10 states hit hardest by America's retail collapse, as a new wave of store closures sweeps across the state. Once defined by its manufacturing might, Michigan now faces a devastating retail economic collapse in 2025. More than 700 stores have closed statewide, a 25% jump from 2023, leaving empty storefronts from Detroit to Flint and Grand Rapids. Rite Aid's bankruptcy triggered over 150 Michigan closures, wiping out 3,000 jobs, while Jo-Ann Fabrics, a Midwest staple, shut 36 stores after reporting a $230 million loss. Sears' hometown, once a symbol of small-town retail, vanished completely, taking another 400 jobs with it. In total, the state has lost over $1.1 billion in retail revenue this year. Detroit's suburban malls now face vacancy rates above 17%, far higher than the national average of 10%. Despite commercial rents falling 12%, small businesses still can't survive. Michigan's median household income of $64,000 hasn't kept pace with rising costs. Groceries are up 14%, electricity 9%, and car insurance averages a staggering $3,141 annually. The highest in the U.S. Foot traffic in downtown Detroit is down 28% from pre-pandemic levels, while property tax revenues have dropped by $90 million, forcing city budget cuts. The Michigan retail workforce has fallen 10% in 2 years, erasing over 50,000 jobs. Across Flint and Saginaw, expanding retail deserts now force residents to drive 20 miles for basic goods. Michigan's decline isn't just about lost stores. It's about shrinking communities and a middle class running out of options in America's deepening retail collapse. Number 9. Texas, the Lone Star State, hits retail rock bottom. Texas, once the symbol of growth and opportunity, has now joined the top 10 states hit hardest by America's retail collapse. Despite its booming population and oil-rich economy, the Texas retail crisis of 2025 has brought a wave of over 1,200 store closures, the largest number in the South. Major metro areas like Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio are seeing record mall vacancies averaging 14.7%, nearly double the 2019 rate. Even Texas-based giants are pulling back. 7-Eleven, headquartered in Irving, shocked locals by closing more than 250 convenience stores, blaming shrinking profits, $3.90 per gallon fuel prices, and a 19% spike in theft. Big Lots shuttered 38 stores, while PNC Bank exited Texas entirely, closing 78 branches and cutting 1,000 jobs. Flagship malls like Houston's Galleria and Dallas's North Park Center now struggle with empty storefronts and plunging rents, down 12% year over year. The state's retail sales dropped 5.3% in 2025, wiping out $6.4 billion in economic activity. Debt and inflation are crushing consumers. The average household carries $11,900 in credit card debt, up from $9,800 in 2022. Median rent exceeds $1,630, while grocery costs are up 13%. Retail employment has fallen 6.5%, erasing nearly 50,000 jobs statewide. Even Dollar Tree couldn't survive, closing 57 stores due to rent hikes and $15 million in theft losses. Once busy strip malls across Fort Worth and Corpus Christi now sit half-empty. With $280 million in lost tax revenue, the Texas retail collapse proves one harsh truth. When consumer spending dies, Even America's biggest growth engine can run out of fuel. Number 8. Arizona, the retail collapse in the desert. Arizona has officially joined the top 10 states hit hardest by America's retail collapse, as its once booming retail economy dries up faster than its desert lakes. In 2025 alone, more than 350 major store closures swept across the state, turning once bustling malls in Phoenix and Tucson into ghost towns. Once iconic shopping centers like Metro Center and Superstition Springs now operate at under 60% capacity, with vacancy rates doubling since 2022. Major brands are retreating fast. Big Lots shut down 28 stores statewide after a 21% drop in home goods sales. 7-Eleven closed over 40 convenience stores amid rising costs and fuel theft, while Kirkland's Home completely exited Arizona following a steep revenue decline. Even Amazon Fresh pulled out of Chandler and Scottsdale, part of a $500 million nationwide downsizing. Arizona's retail collapse is driven by economic strain. The average household now carries over $10,800 in credit card debt, up 14% since 2023, while wages have barely grown 3%. Soaring rents and median home prices above $445,000 have crushed consumer spending. Foot traffic across shopping centers has dropped 19% year over year, according to Placer.ai. The fallout is devastating. Retail employment has plunged 7.8%, cutting over 18,000 jobs. 1 in every 8 retail spaces now sits empty, and commercial tax revenues have fallen by $140 million since 2020. Beneath Arizona's sun-soaked growth story lies a chilling truth. When the middle class stops spending, even the fastest-growing states can't escape the retail economic collapse. Number 7. Washington. From innovation to retail collapse. In 2025, Washington finds itself among the top 10 states hit hardest by America's retail collapse, as the state's once thriving retail economy fades under inflation, e-commerce dominance, and rising costs. Over 420 store closures have swept across Seattle, Tacoma, and Spokane this year alone, turning lively shopping districts into ghostly corridors of glass. Once a tech-fueled retail paradise, Seattle now leads the state in vacancies. More than 15% of storefronts sit empty, compared to just 6% in 2020. Even homegrown retail icons are struggling. Amazon Fresh shut 6 stores across the Puget Sound region after losing nearly $700 million nationwide, while Nordstrom Rack and Nordstrom have slashed operations, closing Bellevue Square's flagship store and cutting over 250 jobs. Local small businesses have been hit even harder, with average rents soaring to $42 per square foot in prime areas and labor costs up 18% since 2021. Many independents simply can't survive. A 1,200 square foot shop in downtown Seattle now costs over $5,000 monthly, while foot traffic remains 22% below pre-pandemic levels. Remote work continues to drain city centers. Downtown Seattle now sees less than 40% of its pre-2020 workforce. Sales tax revenue in King County has dropped over $200 million since 2022, deepening the Washington retail collapse. The average household now spends 36% of its income on housing, leaving little for shopping. With grocery and utility prices up 15% in 2025, Washington's retail landscape tells a sobering truth. Even the birthplace of retail giants can't escape the nationwide retail economic collapse. Number 6. Massachusetts. Innovation meets retail extinction. Even one of America's most educated and affluent states isn't immune to America's retail collapse. In 2025, Massachusetts ranks among the top 10 states hit hardest by the nationwide retail crisis, with over 180 store closures erasing more than 9,000 jobs and leaving once busy streets from Boston to Worcester eerily quiet. Jo-Ann Fabrics, with more than 30 locations statewide, completely exited Massachusetts after sales dropped 24% and supply costs soared 18%. TD Bank shut 20 branches, while Walgreens and CVS together closed 55 stores across the Boston metro area. Retail occupancy has fallen to 82%, its lowest point since 2009. Operating costs have become unsustainable. Massachusetts now has the fourth highest electricity rates in the nation at 28 cents per kilowatt hour, while commercial rents in Greater Boston exceed $55 per square foot. Property taxes surged 12% in 2025, pushing countless small businesses into default. The median household income of $93,500 masks a harsh reality. Average rent for a one-bedroom in Boston now tops $3,100. Combined with mounting student debt, consumer spending has plunged 9% year-over-year, cutting $2.8 billion in retail sales. Even legacy shopping corridors like Newbury Street and Natick Mall are struggling. Vacancies and turnover are rising fast. Across the state, suburban plazas once filled with family-run stores now stand silent. The Massachusetts retail collapse isn't caused by weak demand, but by soaring costs on both sides of the counter. Shoppers can't afford to buy, and owners can't afford to sell. In 2025, innovation may still define the state, but it can't save its collapsing storefronts. Number 5. Illinois, the heartland's retail meltdown. In 2025, Illinois has become one of the top 10 states hit hardest by America's retail collapse, facing a retail crisis that rivals its post-industrial decline. More than 1,150 store closures have swept the state this year, marking one of the worst losses in the Midwest. From Chicago's fading Magnificent Mile to Peoria's half-empty malls, the retail heartbeat of Illinois is fading fast. Big Lots, once a discount favorite, closed 42 stores after sales plunged 19% and lease renewals rose 15%. Bed Bath & Beyond disappeared completely after liquidation, cutting 1,200 jobs. PNC Bank also shuttered 60 branches, many in working-class neighborhoods, leaving financial and retail gaps across communities. Even Chicago's once iconic Water Tower Place now sits at 40% vacancy, while suburban shopping centers in Joliet, Rockford, and Springfield hover between 25 to 30% empty. Retail employment has fallen 9.1% since 2023, erasing more than 46,000 jobs statewide. The economic strain is severe. Illinois has the nation's second highest commercial property taxes, averaging $10,500 per retail unit, while electricity and heating costs jumped 18% in 2025. Median household income hovers around $75,000, but inflation has stripped away purchasing power. Families now spend $8,400 a year on groceries, up 21% since 2023. Foot traffic across downtown Chicago is down 30% from pre-pandemic levels, and once vibrant shopping corridors now resemble urban retail ruins. Flickering neon signs over empty storefronts and for lease banners stretching for blocks. For many residents, Illinois' retail economic collapse isn't just about lost stores. It's about losing the last visible symbol of middle-class normalcy. Number 4. Florida. Sunshine hides a retail storm. Even the Sunshine State can't escape the America's retail collapse. In 2025, Florida ranks among the top 10 states hit hardest by the nationwide retail crisis, with more than 900 store closures sweeping from Orlando to Miami. Once thriving tourist shopping zones now sit half-empty, lined with darkened storefronts and liquidation signs. Major retailers are retreating fast. Walmart Express exited 37 smaller markets, while Kroger shut down its Tampa delivery hubs after losing $120 million in just 2 years. Walgreens closed 68 stores statewide, citing theft losses topping $30 million. In total, Florida's retail sector has lost nearly 40,000 jobs, a staggering 7.2% decline in employment year over year. Behind the collapse lies an affordability crisis. The average Floridian household earns around $67,000 annually, but housing and utility costs have surged 22% since 2022. Groceries are up 14%, and Miami's average rent now exceeds $2,700 a month, leaving consumers with little spending power. Consumer spending has plunged 8.6% statewide, cutting $4.1 billion from Florida's retail economy. Even tourism, once Florida's safety net, has dropped 9% as airfare spikes and hurricane-related insurance costs squeeze the travel industry. shopping hubs like Orlando's International Drive and Miami's Dolphin Mall report up to 25% declines in foot traffic. Local businesses are vanishing too, crushed by rising rents averaging $48 per square foot and insurance premiums up 40% in 2025. Florida's commercial vacancy rate has hit 13.2%, its highest since 2008. Beneath the palm trees lies a grim truth. When locals can't spend and tourists stop splurging, paradise turns into the front line of America's retail economic collapse. Number 3. New Jersey. The mall capital turns into a retail graveyard. Once known as the mall capital of America, New Jersey has become one of the top 10 states hit hardest by America's retail collapse. In 2025, the New Jersey retail crisis reached historic levels, with more than 620 store closures across the state, from Paramus to Newark and Jersey City. Once bustling shopping plazas now sit half-empty, their "for lease" signs multiplying by the week. Even retail giants are retreating. Macy's closed its iconic Paramus Park store after sales plunged 26%, while Stop & Shop shuttered 23 locations following $85 million in losses. Walgreens and TD Bank also joined the exodus, the latter closing 17 branches as it pivots to digital banking. Overall, retail employment has fallen 8%, wiping out 22,000 jobs statewide. Rising costs are crushing margins. Commercial rent now averages $52 per square foot, and energy expenses for large stores have jumped 19% since 2023. Theft-related losses exceeded $170 million, while consumers, burdened by the nation's highest property taxes, averaging $9,500 per year, are tightening their wallets. The median household income of $97,000 no longer stretches far, as grocery and gas prices climb 15%. Even mega projects are sinking. The American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, once a $5 billion symbol of retail ambition, is drowning in debt, missing $330 million in payments and operating at only 74% occupancy. Across the Garden State, retail vacancies now approach 16%, double pre-pandemic levels. New Jersey's story is no longer about consumer trends. It's about exhaustion. The state that defined suburban shopping now stands as a stark symbol of America's retail economic collapse. Number 2. New York, the Empire State of empty stores. Once the retail capital of the world, New York now stands at the epicenter of America's retail collapse. In 2025, the New York retail crisis has reached historic proportions, with more than 1,500 store closures statewide, nearly 400 in New York City alone. From the Bronx to Manhattan, once bustling streets now echo with silence and rows of "for lease" signs. Retail giants are retreating fast. CVS shut 60 stores, Party City filed for bankruptcy and exited 22 locations, while TJ Maxx downsized by 18% across the metro area. Even luxury brands are struggling. Saks Off. Fifth abandoned its downtown flagship after rent soared past $1,200 per square foot, despite sales plunging 25%. Manhattan's retail vacancy rate has hit 17.8%, up from 10% in 2021, while Brooklyn's Fulton Mall now operates at just 65% capacity. Across the state, commercial vacancies have surged 40% since 2020. The numbers paint a bleak picture. Median household income sits at $80,300, but average rent in New York City has reached a record $4,200 per month. Groceries cost 22% above the national average, while spending on non-essentials has plunged 12.4%. In just 12 months, New York lost over 53,000 retail jobs. Fifth Avenue, once the world's most iconic shopping street, has seen $1.1 billion in lost annual revenue since 2019. Independent retailers, crushed by 35% higher insurance costs and 21% higher energy bills, are closing at a rate of 3 per day. The New York retail collapse is more than an economic story. It's a cultural reckoning. The city that once defined global retail now stands as a warning. When affordability dies, even the Empire State can fall silent. Number 1. California. Ground zero of America's retail collapse. California, the world's fifth largest economy, now stands at the epicenter of America's retail collapse. In 2025, the California retail crisis has reached unprecedented levels, with more than 2,300 store closures, the highest number of any state in the nation. From Los Angeles strip malls to San Francisco's Union Square, once vibrant shopping districts have become symbols of decline. Walgreens closed 178 stores statewide, citing record theft and plummeting profits. Macy's exited multiple Bay Area malls, cutting 2,800 jobs, while Rite Aid, once California's third-largest pharmacy chain, declared bankruptcy and shut 154 stores. Even Walmart closed 22 locations in struggling suburban markets. The economic toll is staggering. Retail employment has fallen 9.4% year-over-year, displacing over 110,000 workers. Los Angeles now reports a 15% retail vacancy rate, while San Francisco's Union Square sits at a shocking 27% empty, a level unimaginable just 5 years ago. Behind these numbers lies a crippling cost of living crisis. The median household income is $91,500, but average rent exceeds $3,200 a month. Gas costs $5.40 per gallon, and groceries are up 18%. Even California's landmark shopping centers are collapsing. The Westfield San Francisco Center, once valued at $1.2 billion, was surrendered to lenders after occupancy fell below 50%. In Los Angeles, Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza faces foreclosure as retailers flee soaring expenses. Between 2020 and 2025, over $800 million in retail tax revenue has vanished. Thousands of small businesses have closed, and iconic streets like Hollywood Boulevard now resemble ghost towns. The California retail collapse isn't just economic. It's the unraveling of the middle class in the state that once defined America's consumer dream.